I'd like to call to order the special meeting of the Village Board for December 4th, 2024. Would you please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Yep. President DeSimone?
Here.
Trustee Carmona?
Here.
Trustee Franz?
Here.
Trustee Fry?
Here.
Trustee Lomax?
Here.
Trustee Penicola?
Here.
Trustee Perez?
Here.
That's 7.
On tonight's agenda, there are two matters. The first item on the agenda is a resolution authorizing a referendum on the April 1st, 2025 ballot. The referendum question asks residents to decide if the village should retain or not retain its current managerial form of government. Right now, under the managerial form of government, the village manager runs the day-to-day operation of the village and has the sole power to make decisions without significant input from the village's elected officials. If the residents of the village decide to not retain the managerial form of government, the village president will assume greater administrative authority, including the responsibility of overseeing the day-to-day operations of the village. We welcome honest, respectful debate on this topic and look forward to presenting this plan to the community in the coming months. Unfortunately, there are some in our community trying to spread misinformation. They are claiming that the village board and my decision to ask residents to decide if the managerial form of government should be retained was a great secret. For over 8 years, this idea has been discussed. Any claim to the contrary is just plain untrue and being made to serve political self-interest. Also, any claim that the termination of the prior village manager had to be done first before asking the residents to decide if the managerial form of government should be retained is also untrue. The village is still operating as a managerial form of government, has an interim village manager, and will remain a managerial form of government unless the residents decide otherwise. The second item on the agenda will increase the salary of the village president to $135,000 a year, along with medical and dental insurance. To be clear, this is only if the referendum is voted on by the residents next spring. It does not take effect unless voters decide to not retain the managerial form of government. I look forward again to a robust, meaningful, and in-depth conversation on the referendum, and this board will respect the final decision of the residents. We may now proceed to public comment.
Michael Jaffe?
Good evening. After the November 5th election, within the span of 24 hours, one friend told me anyone who voted for Harris is an idiot. The other friend said anyone who voted for Trump is an idiot. Flashback to the 1980s. President Ronald Reagan and Speaker of the House, Tip O'Neill, were polar opposites politically. They could put aside their party differences to find solutions. The two political rivals were good friends. There is so much acrimony in our politics today, I don't like it. Yesterday, I met with Village President Frank DeSimone to discuss important issues important to me. He has always made the time to meet with me whenever I had questions. At one point during the meeting, I told him that I was done making public comments at village board meetings. I changed my mind. I have lived in Bensenville for 30 years. I think the village is run professionally. The streets are clean, garbage picked up, well maintained. We have an excellent police and fire department. I have received help from Public Works and Community Development on a number of occasions. And we have much better seats to enjoy also at the Bensenville Theater. I think President DeSimone deserves credit for a lot of that. And overall, I think he has done a fine job as village president. Harold Washington, the late great mayor of Chicago, once said, "Politics ain't beanbag." President Harry S. Truman said, "You want a friend in Washington? Get a dog." Politics is a tough business. Are things perfect here in Bensenville? Of course not. I would like the trustees, I know the president just said it's been discussed, I really would like to hear their thinking about such a big change in our government. As a citizen of Bensenville, it's important to me to hear our elected officials, say what they feel about the issues. It seems like this has been done, in my opinion, way too quickly. Trustees, have you discussed how this will benefit our village, the key issues, the impact on the budget, alternatives like hiring another professionally trained expert like Mr. Summers? I mean, this is a multi-million-dollar operation here. Anyway, we are fortunate to live in the greatest country in the world. We live in a democracy where the people rule. April 1st, the citizens of Bensenville will decide whether or not to change our form of government. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. McCullough?
Chris McCullum, resident of Bensenville. Human dignity is based on the idea that all people deserve to be treated with respect, fairness, and kindness. I do not believe any of you have respect for the human dignity of your fellow residents. We should not be forced to be pawns in your abuse of power and self-serving political activities. The action you are taking tonight is in violation of Village Code. According to Ordinance 25-85-95-1985, you and the trustees have 90 days from the date of Mr. Summers' termination to fill the vacancy of the village manager. It does not appear that you are actively seeking candidates for village manager. Taking your action tonight to place a question on the April 1, 2025 ballot concerning our form of government extends beyond the 90 days noted in the village code to hire a village manager. Our village code was established for a reason. What will happen with Jay D'Alessandro as his contract pertains to mentorship of the village manager? Village President DeSimone, will you retain him because of his regular contributions to your campaign fund? When did the trustees discuss the termination of village manager Evan Summers? It was not at the special meeting on November 26th. You did not enter executive session during that meeting. Did you all violate the Open Meetings Act? It is certainly suspicious that you all gather before the meetings and often after in the apparently secret room across the hall. Does not a single one of you have a moral compass that knows these actions are wrong for our residents? As you, our trustees, unanimously vote in favor of the resolutions proposed tonight, please answer the following question when you cast your vote. Why are you voting in favor of the resolution? Don't you think we, as residents, deserve to know that? Finally, can you please provide time tonight for residents to ask questions about what you see as the future of our community? Because it is not clear.
Anyone else?
Nope, that's it.
This will conclude the public comment.
I would like to say a word if you don't mind. I got here late, I apologize.
Do we need a sheet?
Don't worry, I have nothing written down.
Just fill out a sheet after, please, so we can have it for the file.
No problem.
Thank you.
I would be more than happy to follow those directions. I find it quite concerning. I've been a supporter of the Bensenville Village, the president, the board members, and I'm kind of disappointed. I'm just very disappointed in the way this has taken place. You know, I'm sure you're following the regulations. I'm not upset with the lawyer. He's being paid to do what he's supposed to do. So, you know, maybe it's not what we want, but I just find it very discouraging to see these types of actions. I was fired once, and it really didn't bother me before the holidays. But it just seems like it's just really sorry. I guess my friend left and he wants to call me. Sorry about that. I'll turn the phone off. I just would like to see something be done about having an open discussion, as Chris made a comment, and we did not discuss this beforehand, much to some people's probably perception. But I just really don't understand how you could make these kinds of decisions back to back like this. And it just, now everything is starting to be questioned. Some people that were accusing the village of certain actions, I'm starting to question everything. Kind of like how I kind of question 60 Minutes being honest about things when they're so biased in other things. So I just hope that you, I'll tell you right now, not enough information has been given. I don't want to get deluged with brochures, fancy written brochures. Who knows I guess the village is gonna be paying for it. Excuse me, the taxpayers will be paying for it. So I just would like to have some open discussion about this. Maybe that's not the form of government. Maybe we're just delusional to think that. But I just think that it's just unbelievable that every time there's a discussion, it's like a 5-minute meeting, and part of the meeting was taken up with Chris last week. There's no real discussion ever made. And people have said that before to me, and I said, well, everybody gets information. I saw no information up front in the agendas that we were given. Maybe things are changed now. Maybe we're not gonna get as much information as we used to get. That's all I have to say. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
I'd like to speak as well. There wasn't a form when I went up. My name is James Nylander. I've been a resident for a combined total of about 18 years. I love this town, and I happen to know, I believe, everybody on the board. And I'm also a chaplain of the Bensenville Police Department, so I know the chief. I was wondering what due diligence has been done in order to move from one form of government to another? And has that due diligence been made known to us? I would like to, I'm not in opposition. I just want to know what has been done and why it is a good move to move from a system that has worked for us presently and that we've been utilizing to a different form of governance. So what research has been done? What case studies have been noted? What is the capacity that we can expect going forward with a new form of governance? I would love to hear from the trustees. What are the pros and the cons of both forms of governance? A managerial run versus a president, a village president and trustee run? How will that impact our community, right? What are the job requirements for it? What is the level of education required for it? How do we know if we're going to get good service going forward? You guys have done some amazing things over the last 8 to 10 years. What does that look like going forward? So I just have a lot of questions. They're not negative, they're not positive, they're there because we deserve answers. Does this make sense? And so, and we require answers. We want to know that going forward, we're in the best hands possible. Does that make sense? And where are the checks and the balances in this system? Whereas, our federal government, our local government, there's all these checks and balances. We want to know, what are the checks and balances in place? When you have a village manager and you have an elected official, you have checks and balances in place. Where does that go once we remove that element of check and balance? Does this make sense? So I know these are comments, but what I want to know from you, our elected officials, when will we get answers? This is not a rhetorical question. I literally want to know, when will we get answers? What research is going to be done to provide to the community?
30 seconds.
30 seconds? Lovely. Thank you very much.
No, you have 30 seconds.
Oh, I have 30 more seconds? Okay, I love to talk because I'm a pastor, so I can do it all day long. But in all fairness, will there be a white paper published? What type of consultation will be given so that we have answers? That's it. Just provide answers to us. Anything done in darkness immediately takes on a bad optic and puts a bad taste in our mouths, right? Because we are in Illinois.
That's 3
We're in Chicago, So thank you very much.
That will conclude public comment. There are no minutes on the agenda. There's no warrant. Moving on, the resolution of the Village of Bensenville, DuPage, Cook County, Illinois, providing the submission of binding referendum question of whether the Village of Bensenville shall retain the managerial form of government. Is there a motion to approve?
You have a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Being a motion and a second, do we have any discussion on this? We just discussed it. Please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries, resolution is approved. 2 is an ordinance of the Village of Bensville, DuPage, and Cook County, Illinois, amending Section 1-5-3 of Chapter 5 of the Title 1 of the Bensville Village Code. Is there a motion to approve?
You have a
Do I
motion?
have a second?
Second.
Being a motion and a second, discussion, please call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 6.
Motion carries, ordinance is passed. There are no other reports. There's no unfinished business to come before the board tonight. There's no new business. Do we have executive session?
There's no need.
I have a motion to adjourn.
You have a motion?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Call the roll.
Trustee Carmona?
Yes.
Trustee Franz?
Yes.
Trustee Fry?
Yes.
Trustee Lomax?
Yes.
Trustee Pena Cola?
Yes.
Trustee Perez?
Yes.
That's 6.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We are adjourned.